I was just about to start this off by saying, now this is something you don't hear every day, but I've got to be honest with you. I think you kind of are. Look at that shiny bald head. Look at that. You get a bonus when I'm in my room. See, no matter how I turn my head, in all seriousness, I was going to say, oh, you don't hear this every day, but you're kind of starting to. Mother, 38, arrested in front of her children and locked in a cell for 7 hours. What the? Turn that off. After calling a transgender woman a man on Twitter. Police officers detained Kate Scotto, 38, at her home in Hitchin, Hertfordshire, more than 2 months after her arrest, and she still has neither her mobile phone or laptop returned to her. The complaints, who were made by activist Stephanie Hayden, led to the arrest of Miss Scotto. A mother was arrested in front of her children, locked up. 3 officers detained her at her home before quizzing her at a police station about an argument with an activist on Twitter over so-called dead naming. The 38-year-old from Hitchin, Hertfordshire, had her photograph, DNA, and fingerprints taken and remains under investigation. More than 2 months after her arrest on December 1st, she has had neither her mobile phone or laptop returned, which she says is hampering her studies for a master's degree in forensic psychology. Oh, so you're going into psychology trying to argue with someone who used to be a man. Wait a minute, is now a woman? Let me go back. I've got to get that correct. I can't be inappropriate here. A woman, for calling a transgender woman a man. So in other words, it was a man, now they're a woman. Got it. It gets better. She's also been served with a court order that bans her from referring to the accuser as a man. You get a court order stating you can't call somebody a man or a woman. Like, you have to call them a woman. You cannot refer to them as a man no matter how they were born and how they look. Because here's the thing. What happens if this woman starts dressing and looking like a man but still identifies as a woman? And other people say, excuse me, sir, or hey, mister. Are they going to get court orders? Are they going to get in trouble for calling that person a man instead of a woman? Because they identify as a woman, even if they look like a man. Remember that song from Aerosmith? Dude looks like a lady. Dude looks like a lady. Dun, dun, dun. Whoa. I said, what is this, The Onion? dailymail.com.uk.co.uk. A mainstream media site's covering this. A mainstream media site is covering this. Can you believe? Could you imagine having a verbal, just an argument over whether you want to call somebody a man or a woman? And your argument is, well, you were born as a man, therefore I think you're a man. They're saying, well, I used to be a man, but now I'm a woman because I identify as a woman. So my question would be, my wife, every time we see a sloth on TV, they're always like smiling. Yeah, they're all slow and just smiling. They're never upset. Sloths are always smiling. So I thought, what if I identify as a sloth? Not from the Goonies, not the sloth from the Goonies, but an animal, the sloth. I could identify as a sloth, and then on their marriage certificate also, maybe we can have that changed. I now pronounce you sloth and wife. You could do that. Because what's to stop somebody from identifying as a dog, a cat? I mean, you understand, there's several different ways to identify these people. They say there's Zir, there's Zim, there's him, there's Shim, or they. Could you imagine getting court orders all over the place for everybody you interact with? I want to be called a he, or man, you refer to me as a man. I, who was born a man, want to be referred to as a woman, so make sure you remember me. This one over there wants to be considered they. This one likes Zir. This one likes Zim. Are you supposed to know in your brain every one of these people I've ever run into? I know I got to remember how to call them appropriately, refer to them appropriately, and talk to them by their identifying keyword or whatever name. court order says so. I can get in big trouble. You know, the court might find me in contempt. Your Honor, I've met 15 of these transgender individuals. And I can't remember how all of them wants to be referred to. And, Your Honor, they've been playing games with me. What do you mean? Your Honor, they've been dressing differently and looking differently, so I'm having a harder time to determine is that the same person or not. And one day they look like a man, one day they look like a woman. I'm not sure, so I don't know how to address them. Sorry, not knowing the law is no excuse. Contempt of court. All I have to say, this is in the UK, of course, not that it matters. Thank God I'm in America, even though there's some problems here for sure. But thank God Donald Trump is president. And I got a sneaky suspicion all of this stuff we're dealing with, including like this story, are going to be a thing of the past at some point. And I just can't wait for that day. Who would have ever thought you could do something like this and get in trouble? You can argue with someone based on how they were born or what they were born as, gender. They've just decided at some point, I don't identify as that anymore. Again, I should have the right to choose. I don't want to identify as a human being. I want to identify as a sloth. My wife loves sloths. And I'm always smiling, you know. Why are you always smiling? I like smiling. Smiling's my favorite. Good. Make work your favorite, okay? Now working's in your favorite. Okay, fine. That was from Elf. Elf, man. It's been a while since I threw some Elf at you, hasn't it? Or actually, it hasn't been a while. I think the other day I was doing one from... you ever have one of those ideas that's just like, yes! we were doing that in the southern U.S. where we were at recently. Dave and Jean-Claude and I, we were doing some Elf. One of us would have like a good idea about something, and we'd always do, hey, you ever have one of those ideas? Anyways, I gotta give you something to laugh at the end of this, because this is honestly, this is ridiculous. I gotta give you something to laugh at to just take your mind off this real quick. Take care.